Coming up on Two Bid SoCon, we are talking ETSU's win at Samford to break the 28-game home win streak, Chattanooga's improbable win at Furman, and looking back at a whole wild, wild week in the Southern Conference. All that and more after a word from our sponsor. Two Bid SoCon is brought to you by The Ben Burnett Show. Sports, politics, anything else you're looking for. Weekends on Extra 106.3 in Atlanta or wherever else you get your podcasts. Alright, welcome back everyone to another edition of Two Bid SoCon. After maybe one of the most exciting weeks of SoCon basketball I've seen in a long, long time. There's a lot to talk about today, but Taylor, I guess I'll ask how you're doing. You alright?
Good. I mean, today was an unpredictable day of basketball, and I loved it. So was Wednesday, to your point.
So
A
unpredictable.
lot happened. A lot of
So
good games.
unpredictable. To the point that I have lost my lead in the game picks. We were just talking. I had a stranglehold on it, and I was awful this week. I was 2 of 5 today. I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know that I was thinking. I don't know. Disappointed in myself.
Well, 2 weeks ago, I was like 3 or 4 games down to both you and Jack, and now I'm tied with you and only 1 game behind Jack. So the comeback is real.
Yeah, Jack was way, way ahead of me last year. I think I came back and beat him. But anyway, most notable result of the night, ETSU goes into the Pete Hanna Center and beats 5-0 Samford, 65-60. Now 5-1 Samford. Just a gutsy win from Brooks Savage. And the Bucks. We all picked against ETSU. The 28-game home win streak would back that up, but man, I don't know how they pulled it out. Do you want to start on this one?
Yeah, I mean, ETSU just made Samford not look like buckyball, holding them to 60 points when they average upwards of 80. I don't know the exact number. It's crazy. And when I turned on that game to start and saw that atmosphere, looked like an SEC arena, and I was like, yeah, no way ETSU wins this. But I was wrong. Peterson made all the great plays. Boyd was incredible on defense, putting up 3 steals and 3 blocks. He had that crazy block at the end, and I think he was the one that had
block?
Yeah. And then he had a putback dunk towards the end, and yeah, Johnson had that shot, or he was 2 of 10 from 3 before, and then he hit that clutch 3 in the corner to kind of seal the dagger. But to your point, just that was like such an ETSU to win, way to win too, 65-60, but very gutsy, and they showed that they're still competing for the top after a couple of close losses at the start. But I was very impressed, and I cannot, it's weird to see Samford lose, especially at home.
This is the same feel that ETSU team last year had after day one in Asheville. I mean, just back against the wall. Nobody thinks you can win, including some media people. And you go in, you're up against a 28-game home win streak. You got 4,700 people, second most all time in the Pete Hanna Center. John Buggs goes out 60 seconds into the game with a concussion. And a neon out, I don't know how much that affected it, but made it an aesthetically pleasing game to watch. But man, I don't know how they pulled that one out. You know, there were times in that game that they felt a little over-reliant on Peterson.
Yeah.
And I thought Brooks Savage did a great job getting other guys involved. Granted, he did a bit of a Tom Thibodeau impression tonight.
Yeah, playing those heavy minutes.
You go Karan Boyd 37 minutes, Seymour 35, Peterson plays all 40, Alan Struthers plays 31 and goes out with
Yeah,
a
he got hurt.
cramp
Yeah,
with less than 30 seconds
I was
left.
gonna say he'd probably be around 35, 36.
Makai Johnson, 28. I mean, just running basically six guys for the most part. Um, and, interestingly enough, Makai Johnson, I was watching him most of that game, and I was like, man, he's having a great game filling in for Bugs, like getting to the rim, cutting, knocking down open shots. And then I checked the box score, and he's 3 of 11 and 2
Yeah,
for 10 from three. I'm like, when did he miss
I
10?
thought
When
the
did he
same
miss
thing.
eight threes?
It did
And
not
then
feel like that at all.
because that was after he took the ball from the wing, drove with his right hand, and made a layup over Larry Oleinka. I was like, this guy's basically Jack Golke. Like
Yeah.
he hasn't shot a two since I don't know when. I think he shot one against
Yeah, the
Furman,
announcer said
but
something about it. It was like this first 2 point attempt in like 3 games or something great. Not
and
3 games, but it was like minutes wise.
I was
Something.
like, this guy's having a great game. Like he's filling in for Bugs so awesome, and then he's 3 of 11 from the field, and then of course hits the big three that you mentioned down the stretch. Um, I'm starting to realize that having Karan Boyd and Jaden Seymour defensively is just a bad look for other wings. Karan Boyd is as close to Dennis Rodman as it gets, in all honesty. So Colin Holloway goes 2 for 8 for 10 points, 6 of 8 from the free throw line. Trey Fort, 3 of 11.
Yeah, he was struggling.
Got going down in the stretch there a little bit, but for the most part, Seymour and Boyd had those guys in check. And then Brownell, too, 3 of 10 from the field, 0 of 4 from 3. So, I mean, just the defense on the wing, they can both play inside and out defensively. Boyd, it's interesting. I've been rewatching The Last Dance lately because I need confirmation that Jordan's the GOAT.
Well, you won't get it there. That's another conversation.
And I saw the clip of Dennis Rodman like explaining rebounding, where he's like, "Well, the ball go click and go here," and like I was
I
like,
love
"Dude,
that
that's
clip.
Karan Boyd." Like he ended up
Yeah.
with 11 rebounds tonight, 5 offensive. Man, he's just so solid for that team. Shot diet, maybe not the best.
No. Took a bad three near the end where either airballed or got close to airballing. I can't remember,
But he's interesting because he's like a gamer, Like,
yeah.
like he shows up in big moments, and I've compared him to Josh Hart before too. It's felt like in the past he hit some of those big ones, even though he's kind of a non-shooter. You treat him like
Yeah.
one. But I would imagine that in Asheville he'll probably make those because I said something. Stat of the game though, ETSU won the turnover battle for the bigger part of that game. Ended up 16-12. Did win the turnover battle.
Nice.
Samford ended with 2 steals,
Man.
which means the majority of the ETSU turnovers were dead ball, meaning they just get to get back and
Unforced.
set up their defense. You don't let Samford get out and run like they love to do. And I think that's a big indictment on Alan Struthers and Kimari Peterson handling that pressure. Makai Johnson a little bit too, I'll give him some. And Gabe Sisk. Like all those guards just filling in without bugs, handling the pressure, not turning the ball over. And that lets you dictate the pace of the game. And then down the stretch, that game just became incredible. You go the Gabe Sisk and one. Trey Fort hits a logo 3 with 3 seconds on the shot clock. And then Seymour gets an and one on offensive rebound. Like these are just 2 of the best teams in the league just trading blows with each other. And I think it's going to be exciting to see that kind of matchup in Asheville.
Yeah.
But just a gutty win for ETSU.
Very impressive, especially a neon out. It looked like for
Beat the neon out, yeah.
beat the
dude.
neon out for Samford fans.
Unbelievable. I will say shout out to Samford fans though. They
Showed that felt like an
forced-
SEC game.
They forced the workers at Pete Hanna Center to extend the bleachers to accommodate everybody. So
Did they really? I didn't know that.
mm-hmm.
That's
So
awesome.
it ended up being 4,700. The students like the neon out. I don't think anybody else did, but really, really cool atmosphere. Really cool for it to take place on national TV. Um, you get to see John Rothstein talk about Buckyball, which is
Yep.
always nice. Um,
Even though they didn't
but
look like Buckyball today. Credit ETSU for that.
so we talked last week, I believe last week, could anybody beat Samford? And of course, as soon as we mentioned that, somebody beat Samford.
Yep.
So now in the SoCon standings, you go Samford 5-1, UNCG 5-1, Chat 4-2, ETSU 4-2, Wofford 4-2, Furman 3-3, and those would be the 6 teams that we outlined coming into the year.
Although
We
I don't
didn't
think any
predict
of us.
UNCG.
Yeah, I was
We
gonna
did.
say, but we had them at
UNCG
6. Yeah,
has been a shocker so far for sure. Probably not to anybody in that building, but
but for the rest of us,
5 of those teams we outlined that could win the league, and those 5 teams are definitely still in play to do so. I guess real quick on UNCG, I'm kind of upset that the stream got fixed in that game because I
because that was a slaughter in the second half.
did not want to watch that. The only thing I took away from that one is, does Kenyon Giles have a Player of the Year case over PJ Smith?
I think at this point he does. And
If
why
you
does it
had
seem
a
like
vote,
Atwell? And why does it seem like Atwell never misses a 3 ever at this point?
it's his role. Clay
Because
Thompson.
wow,
Yeah,
both of them honestly shooting 43% or whatever from 3.
yeah. Since that Chattanooga game, they've found something, and I think they said Giles is shooting like 68% from 3 in like the last
Jeez,
3 games, which is
that's
disgusting
insane.
work. But that team has a real chance to win 2 games or so in Asheville because they can just guard. Like holding a D1 team to 55 points
Yeah,
is wild.
and
Um,
outscore them by 24 in the second half. Ooh.
Kind of on the same note, Wofford 69-49 over Mercer today. Um, I picked Mercer in this one.
Why is that, Matt?
I had heard that Corey Tripp was not going to go. Um, I had a tip. I didn't think he was going to go, and he did. And as soon as I saw that he was playing, I was like, "Oh Lord, this is not what I thought was going to happen." But in Mercer's defense, you go from a heartbreaker on Wednesday, where you have Samford on the ropes, and then you take what's probably the longest road trip in the SoCon on Saturday to a
Hmm.
team that has a chance to win this league. I don't know what I saw. I don't. So we need to right the ship over here.
Yeah.
But getting back to the more interesting games of the day, Chattanooga in Greenville, 75-71 over Furman. And you and I were texting throughout this game.
Yeah.
I
We
can't
didn't know
explain.
what happened.
I don't know how they were in the game, how Chattanooga
No.
was in the game, let alone win it, based on the first 12 minutes or so of it.
Because they went down 11-0, and I was like, they're not going to score. And it was 22-6, and I was like, man, they're about to get run out of this building. And then I was kind of like watching it and out because I was like, this is blowout. Then all of a sudden it was 26-19, and I was like, oh, okay. They kind of have a shot, but still I'm like, Furman's got this. Slowly, just made their way in it. And Frank Champion, heck of a game, 16-9. Bottom and Huff had 16 as well. They just made the right plays down the stretch. Mulholland had a big 3 down the stretch too. And PJ Smith had a good first half, had a clutch 3 near the end, but started missing. And they all kind of started missing in the second half. But again, to your point, like I cannot believe that Chattanooga won that game.
And,
It just felt like one of those games that Furman would win by 12 or something. But
mhm.
what a
Like
huge win for them.
if you cut that film, I would say 12 minutes in, I'm like, it's over. It's bogus.
Hmm.
Like from Chattanooga, it was just like hot potato. Like seemed like nobody wanted the ball. Like Frank Champion would pop to the top of the key, and somebody would just throw it like over his head, like Patrick
It
Mahomes.
did happen a
Like
couple times. Yeah.
it just looked like indecisiveness everywhere. You get to the rim or you get in the paint, you don't know if you want to go for a floater or get all the way to the rim, and it just results in it like I said, a game of hot potato where it just feels like nobody wants the ball. Um, and then Mekhi Richards comes in,
Hmm.
slips to the rim, and a thunderous dunk. And I was like, the energy might change here.
Yeah.
Like this is something that gets everybody going. Um, and then it's just kind of back and forth from there. You know, Chattanooga's just trying to stay within striking distance, um, just have a chance to win the game at the end. But I felt like they struggled size wise against this Furman team
Yeah.
because Chattanooga does run small a lot of the time with Champion at the 5. Um, and Furman likes to play a lot of two big stuff, whether it's, Bowser and Heen where they start, or Johnston and Heen, or Johnston and Bowser, or Vanderwall, whatever it is. And I thought that kind of, especially in the first half, led to Chat having a hard time finishing defensive possessions, like playing 25 seconds of really good defense and then giving up 2 or 3 offensive rebounds
Yeah.
to where Nick Anderson hits a 3 or PJ Smith gets a lay, whatever it is. Um, but as bad of a first half as you have, you go into the locker room down 7.
Yeah,
That's
we're
not
still in
bad.
this despite all that.
That's not a bad place to be. And then second half, Chattanooga really benefited from the pace, forced the turnovers that they love to do. Um, and then, you have your closers, whether it's, Champion is 6 for 9 for 16 points. Huff comes in, hits some big free throws, hits a big 3 down the stretch
Hmm.
too. Trey Bonham hits a big 3 in the corner. And just talking about the versatility of this team, like you win on Wednesday against Wofford, and Bash Whelan has, I believe, a career high. Don't quote me on that. And then Bash comes out today and goes 2 for 7
Mm.
for 7 points, and you still find a way to win the
Yeah.
game. Like a comeback Mox week, between that Wofford game and today. Um, I really thought down the stretch Furman became a little over physical on the outside,
Yeah.
especially trying to run Huff and Bonham off of pin downs and screens like that. And it just let other guys like Frank Champion just slip to the rim, whether for an offensive rebound or whatever it was. And it just left the door open, and then Chattanooga hits their free throws and executes from there. And that game shocked me. I don't know how they won that game.
Yeah.
It
Because
blows my mind.
even they were up 62-60, it wasn't until Bonham's corner three to go up 5. I was like, oh my gosh, they're about to win this. Like that was insane. But props to them. Was that 3 wins in a row after starting 1 and 2 after that loss to UNCG? So, and to your point, they're in third place. And yeah, that was really shocking. I
hmm
can't believe
This
Furman
is
dropped it.
this is the second year in a row that Chattanooga hasn't looked really the way they want to. Kind of a few games through conference play, and then there's just an on switch
Yeah.
somewhere in there, and they just start winning big games, and it's hard to bet against them at that point.
Hmm.
Um, Elsewhere today, the game that you picked right again that Jack and I did not. Your
And my best
Keydets.
bet.
Your Keydets. So interesting. You picked it at +1.5, and it moved all the way to -1.5 in VMI's favor.
Oh, really?
And I still just put it for you
Wow.
because I wasn't
Yeah.
gonna. So you got saved a little bit, but
All right. Well, I mean, it worked out anyway because VMI
it
won by
would have
5.
worked. Yeah. Um, your thoughts on that one?
Man, VMI I know it ended up only being 5, but they just controlled, especially in the second half, because I think they were only up 2 at halftime. But man, what a game by Ricky Bradley. 29 points, getting to the line, shot 13 and 15 from the free throw line, hit 4 threes, and then Cugelus having 13 and 5, his typical game. And then AJ Clark really set the tone in the second half. He had 0 points, I think, 0 or 2. I think it was 0 coming in the second half, and then immediately had a jumper, a layup, and then a steal and dunk, and that just put him up by 10. And from there, they were just running away, and they pretty much proved that they're maybe not contenders, but they're a level ahead of the Citadel, and they're on the rise for sure. And that's their second conference win in a row. And you can just tell those boys are so happy, and Andrew Wilson's done a great job. And for the Citadel, it's looking like our predictions of them being in last are looking pretty good so far, even with Brody Fox, even with him putting up 18, 5, and 6.
But I don't feel good about it.
You don't feel good about it?
No, I mean, we picked them to be in last, but I don't want to see them go 0 for
Well, no,
18
I don't
in
want to see that, but
conference
I'm just
play.
saying. No, 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 I was saying our prediction is like it's looking like it's going to come true. I don't want to see that either. But
You know, yeah, but so I mean, these are gonna be this week is gonna be their best chance to get that first win in conference play because you got VMI at home, and then
oh, that's next week.
next
They play them
Sat
right away.
no, they just played VMI at home. Next Saturday you
Oh, I
get
thought you meant that.
Western Carolina at home.
Ooh,
So if you don't pick up a win there,
the Micah Goose.
those were your best two shots.
Uh,
Um, so we'll see how Ed Conroy and the Citadel move forward. Um, you knew going into this one that VMI loves to play that zone, and it's an interesting zone because it ebbs and flows kind of within a single possession. But the Citadel's good offensive possessions against that zone came when they somehow got 2 feet in the paint.
mm-hmm.
Whether it was feeding the high post or finding somebody on the low block and somebody cutting, whatever it was. Half of their possessions, they would do that, and I would be like, that's beautiful basketball. The other half, they would do what they did against Vanderbilt that we saw,
Tuck up,
and it
pass
would
around the
just
perimeter.
swing around the three-point line
Yeah.
and then chuck something as the shot clock starts to wind down. And that's where VMI started to build their lead when they would, have stretches where they would just get lazy and not want to get inside, whatever it was. And I thought both Kiudis and Ricky Bradley were just matchup nightmares for the Citadel today. Like, Kiudis especially, because, like, who does the Citadel have that could guard him?
No.
Like Adams is probably too slow. Colby McAllister's probably too small. Christian Moore is probably the best physical matchup for him, but Kiudis is just so smart and disciplined on the offensive end that he can get to the free throw line at least against Christian Moore. It's not like Christian Moore's got him on locks, but and then how many times can you lose Ricky Bradley on a flare screen? Like,
It felt like every time I was like, all right, there it is
it
again.
felt like his first 4 threes were just like the offense, like the first offense doesn't work, and they just set a flare screen on the right
Yeah.
wing, and he nails the three. Like, I don't know, and I hate to be this guy because it just feels kind of lazy. But can we make our free throws?
Oh, I know. I've been saying that too.
Come on. This
What were they
team,
to 18?
this team
Okay.
is shooting 58% from the free throw line.
The Citadel?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. As a
And
team?
yes,
Good Lord.
and like it just feels lazy to be like, well, they lost by 5 and they missed 8 free throws, so if you make 6 of those free throws, you win the game. But
Yeah. But if you're shooting like
if you're shooting
yeah.
58% from the free throw line as a group, why are we not staying after practice? Like,
Yeah,
come
that's
on.
absurd.
I'm everybody on the line. Pick somebody. If you miss the free throw, we're all running
We're
a
running
suicide.
suicides.
Like, if we're under 60%, there has to be some kind of change.
No, that's absurd. Oh my gosh.
And the biggest culprit is Brody Fox.
Mm-hmm.
Because his whole game is getting to the rim. Because he can't shoot threes. I don't know where that went. But He's
That was my
constantly
rant
driving to
2
the
weeks ago.
rim, dunking or trying to dunk, and he goes 1 of 5 from the free throw line today. Again, I hate
Sort
to
of
be
like,
this guy.
yeah.
Also, 7 of their 10 made free throws were because Colby McAllister can shoot free throws, and he went 7 for 8.
So they went 1 for 10, the rest of them? Oh, wait, no,
Yes,
3 for 10? 3 for 10, I
3
guess?
for 10. Come
Good
on,
Lord.
guys. Again, I hate to be that guy. It always feels like the lowest hanging fruit um, in journalism, but come on.
Free throws win
It
games.
frustrates me. And
58% is
it's
crazy.
unfortunately a big reason that they're now 0-6 in conference play. So it's just unfortunate to see.
Yeah,
It
that's
really,
absurd.
really
I
is.
didn't know it was 58.
Yep, they showed the whole SoCon on a graphic. Just I don't know. Something
Man.
has to change at a certain point. Anyway, um, that is it for Saturday's packed slate of action. We're actually going to go back in time now to Wednesday,
That was a good slate as well.
which was another loaded slate. And we're going to start Samford in Macon, Georgia. Controversial one. What were your thoughts on that one?
That call at the end, I'll just start with that. Like, it's so frustrating. So you hate to see that being called down the stretch, and I necessarily didn't agree with it, but he did run into him. And like, what are you even doing getting this? Like, who was it? Ryland was it Jones who was about to? Yeah, like, what are you even doing getting this space there? It's a 3/4 course shot. Either way, it's a tough call, but I was really impressed because I picked Sanford. I mean, yeah, Sanford. I don't think it was my best bet, but I was like, they're going to win by more than. And Johnson and Robinson just really took over. Robinson with 29 and Johnson with 20. I mean, they were just on fire, and it felt like them two single handedly were keeping them in it. And Sanford only making 5 threes. Kind of these last couple games, it maybe feel like Sanford's not as good as they. I mean, they're still top of the notch, but this
Yeah.
first couple, I was like, they're unbeatable. But to beat Mercer by one and then lose today, it's like, all right, they're human after all. But I was more impressed with Mercer for them competing because they've had some. They've been a little up and down, but like beating Chattanooga, then this, like they're a
Which
confusing team a little bit.
which blows my mind that they just came out and laid an egg at
Yeah,
Wofford today.
I know. I didn't think they win, but I was like, all right, put up 49 after these couple games, putting up
Yeah,
97 against UTC.
49. Yeah. Um, Look, the ending of that one is what it is.
Yeah,
It's it's a bit of Ryland Jones being such a veteran and such a smart player of putting an official in a position to make a 50-50
yeah.
call. Um, throwing the ball towards the rim and selling it, whatever it was. But as an official, you can't make that call. You can't.
Yeah.
In a tie game where Mercer has basically given Samford its best shot, you have to let the players decide that game in overtime.
I agree. I just don't think you should be near him like that, like to even
Yeah, it
risk
was
it.
also
That's my thing. Bad call, but get near him, give him his space, and let him throw up the 80-footer.
yeah. Um, I tweeted about this, but eye-popping stat that Samford didn't make a field goal
Mm,
in the last 9.5 minutes of the game.
that is insane. And to win.
Uh, how do we do that? Like, this is a team that at one point was the third highest scoring team in the country, and their last 3 halves of basketball have not screened that.
Mm-mm.
In all honesty, um, a bit of the shot diet for them, the shot selection down the last 10 minutes of that game didn't really scream, "Hey, we haven't made a field goal in the last 6 minutes."
Yeah.
Like, Brownell took a deep contested three at the top of the key. That's the first one that comes to mind. But Fort had a few bad shots. just kind of leaving the door open for Mercer to get back into that game. I thought Ahmad Robinson was phenomenal in that one. Chip Johnson was as well. Um, you just really hate for that competitive of a game to end that way. Um, really is just not a good look. It's like if you're playing one-on-one with your little brother, and he's better than you, but like you can't let him beat you. And then like you're playing a physical game and you're basically beating the hell out of each other. And then mom comes outside and is like, "Hey, dinner's ready. Next bucket wins." And then you just bully him to the rim,
Yeah,
and score.
that's a good way to put it.
Like nobody leaves feeling good about that one.
Yeah.
Like I didn't see a video of Samford in the locker room after that one, like listening to Jello. I I didn't see them celebrating that one.
No, I even looked on the bench and it looked like they were just like, phew.
It was like put your head down and hit the tunnel. Like
Uh,
nobody leaves feeling good about that one.
mm-mm.
Ring the buzzer, put 5 more minutes on the clock. Let's run overtime and
I
see
know.
what
I was
happens.
looking forward to that.
That's my biggest issue.
Yeah.
Um,
Very
but
unfortunate
again,
way to end that
it
great
is what
game.
it is. Of course, had Twitter up in arms, which was always fun to see. Um, but that game coming on the heels of Wofford Chattanooga,
Ooh.
a game that did go to overtime. Your thoughts on that one?
Man, that was another one where I thought Chat was dead in the water early on, and then Stuck's team trip go down, but they still played well, and then they made clutch plays down the stretch, and then Bash Wheelan, two threes in the final minute to force overtime. Man, those were clutch. One from the corner, one from the side, and then Bonham hitting that tough layup to go up two. But man, that was Justin Bailey though. He hit some tough shots, like single handedly. Like I was like, all right, him and Justin or Dylan Bailey hit some crazy shots. I think they both had over 20, and I thought them two were gonna keep UTC out of the game. But
The more,
props to
the more,
Chattanooga. Bash Wheelan. Oh, I just said him. What I'm saying. But I was saying it's game overall having 20, and then Bonham and Huff both having 15. Bonham having the game winner. That was just a great game. As you know, it had me in shambles that whole game, especially when ETC made the comeback. Because when Wofford went up by 20, I was like, all right, I got it wrong, whatever. But then they came back, and I was like, oh, what do I do? What should I pick? So that was just a great classic game to watch.
well, as you know, I had Wofford in that one.
Yeah, I bet that.
So up 20, I was like, dude, what a snipe from me. What a pick.
Yeah.
And then cut to commercial break, and I see Corey Tripp on the bench getting work done on his ankle, and I was like, oh no. Because, like, where else does your offense come from in
Yeah.
terms of initiating? Like, Dylan Bailey, Justin Bailey are great, right? But they're not Corey Tripp,
Yeah.
And they know that. I will say, the more I watch Justin Bailey, the more impressed I am.
He's looked a lot like he's improved a
super,
lot.
super skilled player. Can score at all three levels. Physical. There was the call he fouled out on, which was the right call. But I feel like you have to know to not to be so physical in that spot. But especially when he fouled out, I was like, oh boy, there's just not enough firepower to,
Yeah.
like, once Tripp went down, half of the offense was like posting Filowich up and having people cut off him and relocate for threes and things like that. And I was like, that's not the
Yeah.
same offense that Wofford loves to run. And I think one possession in there, Filowich took a Dirk Nowitzki, like, one leg fade. And I was like, oh man, this is not.
I remember that.
This
I was
is
like, oh,
not
what are
what
you
I
doing?
signed up for. But after all that, credit to Dwight Perry. He drew up a great play there after the Bonham layup.
Yeah.
He had a great throw from, I believe, Dylan Bailey. Don't quote me. And Lorenz got a good look.
That was a
Lorenz
really
had
good look.
Good,
I thought that was going in at first.
good look. to win that game. On the Chattanooga side, just talking about that versatility. In that one, Bash Whelan's the guy. Like,
Yeah.
interesting, in my notes I wrote, after the 2 threes, I was like, Bash Whelan is a closer. Like, he's their closer. Like, he's the guy they go to. And then the next possession, they go to Trey Bonham, and he gets to the rim so easily,
bucket,
by the way, and gets Bailey up in the air and finishes to grab the lead. Kind of same thing as the Furman game today and the ETSU game. Just gutsy. Like, just finding a way to stay within striking distance and just give yourself a chance down the stretch. Like, just give yourself a chance to have somebody make enough plays for you to win that game. And in that game, it was Whelan. Today, it was Champion and a collection of guys. But, man, just a gutsy win for that team.
Yeah. Think about it. They could be 2-4 right now if they don't come back from those. Or would be 2-4. That's crazy to think about.
Yeah, that's the difference. I mean,
you got to have closers.
Finally, back on Wednesday, ETSU drops one at Furman. I hate to feel like I'm ending this podcast on a negative note for ETSU based on what they just did, but it felt the same as Chattanooga today, where I was like, how did ETSU lose this game? Like, I felt like they controlled the pace and the physicality and the scoreboard for 36 minutes. No, less than 32 minutes, whatever it was. And Furman just stayed close enough.
Yep.
And PJ Smith and Nick Anderson and those guys made enough plays down the stretch to win that game. Biggest storyline out of that one, Ben Vanderwall stepping aside for Edwin Bronson. Apparently he came to Coach Ritchie and decided that they needed another shooter on the floor and asked for Bronson to be in the starting lineup. I believe so. If that's not the story, it was Ritchie's idea, and Vanderwall was all signed up for it. So, I mean, that's huge to have that kind of leadership on a team where you just know that's what the lineup needs is another shooter. So you're like, I'll come off the bench. I'll do what I got to do. Furman really stayed in that game for the most part by making Seymour and Peterson work for everything. Like, nothing was easy in that one.
Yeah.
And I mentioned this at the top, just with Peterson. It felt like they were a little over-reliant on him at times. And that's easy to do because he's great. Like, he can score inside because he's so big and physical, and he can hit the three. But there has to be movement outside. And I thought Bugs was really good in that one, just providing that spacing that, he's so good at. Heen, Vanderwall, Molnar, Johnston, all were able to do a really good job guarding Seymour and just making everything difficult. But yeah, just a tough win for Furman, and then to turn around and drop one against Chattanooga today just shows you the nature of this league. Like, those 6 teams, I hate to discount the others, but actually 7. I'm adding Mercer in there.
Mercer's shown they can.
Those 7 teams are just going to beat each other up all the way through March. And anybody can beat anybody on any given night. And if my game picks aren't evidence of that, I don't know what is. So.
All are, really.
Yeah, well, that's how it goes.
I felt the same way, though, about that game. Like, even when ETSU went up 1 at half, I was like, I feel like they're up 10 right now. They got this. And it wasn't until, I want to say it was Vanderwall who had a tip in with 2 minutes left to go up 5. And I was like, oh, Furman's going to win this game. And to me, this felt like a classic ETSU game where the starting 5 showed up and they didn't get much help from the bench. Because, let's see, yes, Peterson 21, Seymour 18, and then they had 8 points total off the bench. And the score being 73-70 just felt like a classic ETSU game where the starting 5 shows up and the bench doesn't. I mean, Furman's a good team, 15-4 still, but you get even a little more bench production, and you get a result like today where they knock off Samford. So, and the point differential, it being 73-70, it's about what I expected. Wasn't the line 3.5? So I guess ETSU covered. So
Well, so it was 70-70, and within the blink of an eye, it was 77-70 Furman. Like they hit a three and a couple of layups, I think,
yeah,
and it was basically out of reach for ETSU to win that game. And then, you get the Bugs 4-point play and, everything else that happened down the stretch there. But good teams win, great teams cover. So.
yep. So remember, we got the 4-point play, and I already texted. And I was like, "Oh wait, they might get this foul. Never mind."
Yeah, what sucked
After
was
that,
the line, or at least the line I disclosed closed at 3,
oh,
and that was my best
oh
bet.
no,
So I was
dang.
like, for some reason I thought it was 2.5. I was like, yes, I'm 1-0. I hit, and then I looked at the graphic and it was 3. So I had to.
Oh, so you were 0-1. I saw that,
I
and I was
had
like,
to. I had to nobly give myself a push.
"Respect."
Lesser men would give themselves the win, but
Yeah,
you gotta earn it. You gotta
Yeah.
earn it. Looking ahead now, Wednesday we go Furman at VMI, Mercer at UNCG,
nice.
Western Carolina at ETSU, and the Citadel at Wofford. But on Thursday, we go Samford at Chattanooga. Early thoughts on that one?
If you asked me a couple days ago, I would have said, "Oh, Samford," but now I'm like, I feel more better about Chattanooga winning that. 3 wins in a row. Samford very close to losing 2 in a row. I love the ball Chattanooga's playing. They look like they figured it out. Bonham and Huff have not coming to their own because they've been good, but like they've settled in this year. Bash Whelan and Frank Champion, the Champion limits the turnovers. Have done their thing, but if Samford goes back to buckyball, I mean, they're in buckyball, but they start making their shots again and looking
Right.
like their old selves, scoring. That's gonna be great. I'm excited for that one. If I'm not mistaken, I see it's on national TV.
ESPNU, yep.
Nice. That'll be a great game.
So that
I bet
one
it'll be a good atmosphere.
interesting. That one be interesting because one, it's gonna be hard to bet on buckyball losing 2 in a row.
I know. That's good. Yeah.
Just because of how good they've been so far this year. And I don't think McMillan will just roll the ball out and be like, it happens. I think
Yeah.
I think he'll see, kind of like I said, that the last 3 halves of basketball they've played haven't been amazing. And I think he'll try to kind of get them back to the basics of, their shot selection and things like that. So I definitely don't think it'll be the same Samford team that, came out this week. With that being said, on the Chattanooga side of things, this team is kind of built because of what happened last year against ETSU.
Mm-hmm.
Because when the press got put on, granted that ETSU press is a little bigger than the Samford press is, but the Samford press is a well-oiled machine. So Kiesler and Whelan and Champion were brought in basically to help kind of supplement that pressure on the smaller guards of Huff and Bonham. So how those guys kind of work the press as a whole unit is going to be very interesting because Samford did sweep Chattanooga last year. So, Huff and Bonham haven't handled that press the best in the past, but now there's new pieces. There's a more versatile kind of big wing lineup that they have that I think will give them a better chance. So I'm not taking a stance on this one yet because I'm scared, but I'll pick something before we
I know. I'm
start.
not. I'm not
I'm-
fully decided on that one.
I haven't done my prep to take a pick yet, but
Okay, wait. So, do you have the full standings of you and Jack on the best bets in the standings, or on the game picks?
on the best bets,
On both, on the
Okay.
game picks and the best bets.
okay, hold up. Yeah, I need to do my research here.
Let's let the
All right.
viewers know where we're at.
So I came in 18-7. and I went 2-5 today. No, 2-3. 2, 4, 5.
Okay.
2-3. So I'm now 20-10.
Okay.
Jack also came in today at 18-7. He went 3-2. So he's now 21-9. So he's got the lead. You came in 17-8, and you went 3-2. So you and I are
20 and
tied at
10.
20 and
Let's
10.
go.
Jack is 21-9. We're just like the SoCon dude. We're 5-1, 4-2.
Yep.
It's anybody's race. It's anybody's game.
Those are all three good records.
I'm just Samford.
Yeah.
Started strong. Not playing my best ball right now, but
I'm UTC, started slow, finding my way.
So
And then Jack is
best
Jack is
bets.
UNCG.
Best bets. I'm 1-1. Jack is 1-1, and you are 1-1.
Let's
So
go.
I'm the only one not in the win column. Oh my god.
Let's
What
go.
are we doing, man? I need to go like Aaron Rodgers, darkness retreat, lock
Take a
back
bunch of
in,
Percocets and just see stuff.
ayahuasca.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know.
Let's
Maybe
go
I'll
into a
watch.
cave.
Maybe I'll watch the Rodgers documentary and just get in the
That looks
mindset.
horrible. Enigma. You're not like that, dude. That's a whole nother conversation.
I just go 5-0.
Yeah.
You guys don't hear from me for 2 days, and then I just sweep.
I'd be like, all right, time for me to disappear for a bit.
We'll see. That is all we have for you guys on this episode of the show. Spotify, YouTube, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. Yell at us on Twitter. Do whatever you want. Twitter's quiet tonight, unfortunately.
Really
Samford
is.
and Furman lost. So we need to get people riled up. We're 6 weeks from Asheville, people. We need to get on it. Anyway, that is it. Appreciate you guys, and we will see you next week.